We have amongst us the CEO of our co-host, which is Space Foundation. We are really pleased to have him on board here. He is Rear Admiral of US Navy, Thomas Zelibor. Admiral Zelibor is leading the world's premier nonprofit organization founded in 1983 for the global space ecosystem, the Space Foundation. Admiral Zelibor has a broad and accomplished leadership and entrepreneurial background. He was the chairman and CEO of Lightwave Logic, president and CEO of Flatiron Solutions, vice president for Science Applications International Corporation, as well as a member of the Department of Homeland Security's Space Systems Critical Infrastructure Working Group and Defense Innovation Board's Space Advisory Committee. During his esteemed military career, he served as Director of Global Operations, Deputy for C4 Integration and Policy Wing, and Director of the Space Information Warfare Command and Control Division. Admiral Zelibor retired as a Navy Rear Admiral and Navy aviator with over 35 years of significant leadership experience. Admiral, I invite you to deliver your speech.
Well, thank you very much for the kind introduction. I really appreciate it. And Excellency, thank you for allowing me and the members of the Space Foundation's leadership team to join you today for today's program. We're extremely honored to be the co-host and your partner for today's first International Symposium on Space Science. Our only regret is that we could not be there with you in person, but hopefully next time we can make that happen. Today's exchange is the first of what I hope will be many more conversations that we'll have on how we collectively advocate for innovation and work together to better life for all of us on Earth. That's Space Foundation's mission, and we're honored to engage all of you, learn from you, share inspiration with you, and do things that make a difference every day around the globe. One of the most exciting things about my job as CEO is seeing all the new change agents that are emerging in what we at Space Foundation call the global space ecosystem. Nowhere is that more obvious than by what all of you at ICESCO are doing today. You're opening the doors of opportunity where countries, commerce, education, and culture can work together to lift people up and empower them to think and act boldly to change lives for the better. At Space Foundation, we see that happen every day as space is a shared place of inspiration for people of all ages, countries, and backgrounds. We welcome the start of this relationship and the ability to connect and work with you in these and many other areas. As I mentioned a moment ago, we see what is happening in space today as a global ecosystem. Let me explain that a little bit further. Today's space environment is a collection of integrated systems and stakeholders. Those include governments, companies, researchers, educators, students, military forces, and infrastructures, all existing and operating in a defined place. At Space Foundation, we view all these systems and stakeholders as the global space ecosystem. And like every ecosystem, it must be managed and balanced to ensure its sustainability. The health and durability of this ecosystem depends on factors in three core mission areas: information, education, and collaboration. At Space Foundation, we have organized ourselves to serve each of those activities. Around this time last year, I shared with the news media and our global stakeholders that the 2019 space economy was worth about 424 billion US dollars. In a few short weeks, Space Foundation will be sharing the new space economy number for 2020. Even with the economic downturn caused by the global pandemic, we expect that number to grow as multiple financial outlets have forecast the global space economy to exceed over $1 trillion in the next decade. Those numbers and economic growth are certainly attractive, but to achieve and exceed those promising projections, it requires us to diversify the participants, investments, and partnership models that enable greater collaboration. Governments, industry, finance, national security, research, and other communities are all scrambling to grow the workforces needed today. Building those will be essential to our future, both for operations in space and back here on Earth, where the greatest values and impacts will be delivered. Today, globally, there are 85 countries operating in space, with thousands of commercial enterprises rising to take their place in orbit and throughout the space economy. Those companies and organizations employ millions around the globe and inspire billions more with promise, vision, and the more priceless of commodities, hope. This level of commercial activity will only increase as established and emerging companies offer goods, services, and space-inspired technologies that fuel space operations, enrich space supply chains, and add global value. Today, this global environment is primed for growth and expansion, but only if we commit to the steps that ensure this ecosystem's stability. And these steps include expanding the diversity of people in the space community, preparing a skilled and knowledgeable workforce with room for all, balancing smart investments with sound policies to enable entrepreneurship, innovation, and opportunity, and finally, building systematic resiliency to preserve the safety and security of space infrastructure and operations. In preparing for today's remarks, I spent some time reviewing the vision, mission, and objectives of ICESCO. Something that struck me was how similar our two organizations are in what we want to do for people. Collectively, we want understanding, education, investment, and opportunity, not just today, but for a sustainable future that not only inspires and changes lives for the better, but gives people hope of not just what they can do, but what they can become. Space Foundation looks forward to working with all of you to share and build the information, education, and collaboration that advocates for innovation in all its forms, because that makes life on Earth better for all of us. That will always be the mission that unites us, and we look forward to working with you in the days, months, and years ahead. Thank you very much for allowing me to join you today, and I'm looking forward to today's program.